Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Happy holidays and all that good stuff. It's your old pal Shram and Cashman. That is right. You are checking out Derby Rocks. We are happy to be here. What is up, Cashman? How are you?
Oh, we are very happy. It is the busiest shopping day of the year. Uh,
No, it's the busiest drinking day of the year. The shopping day's on Friday.
yeah, well, they don't know. They're hearing this on Friday. So
Oh, sure. Yeah, you're right. Oh, that's so funny.
it,
Hilarious.
it's one of
Well, no,
these.
today is Wednesday.
Yeah,
Big shock. It's still going to be a great show, and it is the biggest drinking day of the year.
it is. And we're here
Uh,
talking roller derby.
Friday is the busiest shopping day of the
Yeah.
year. So yeah, it's a busy week for other people. We are here talking roller derby, which is completely fine. Neither of us are huge imbibers or anything like that, so it's whatever. And it's amateur hour. Everybody goes out tonight, so
Yeah.
in no time it'll be very nonsensical.
And the funny thing is, when we get done, I got to run out to the shopping store to pick up some Cool Whip.
Some Cool Whip.
Cool
Is
Whip.
that for your caramel pies?
It is. It is.
Did you? Well, I'll leave it to your weeks. You'll talk about it coming up here.
Sure.
Uh,
Sure. Yeah.
So, whatever. But happy holidays. Thank you for checking us out. We are happy to be here. Like we said, it is going to be a great show. Fresh off their announcement and acceptance and new branding and everything of Team USA Roller Derby. Our friend Loki is going to be joining us from the Gatekeepers as well. Um, we've had Loki on the show before, an amazing jammer, plays for the Gatekeepers, has won gold with them a couple of times now, and a bronze. We'll definitely talk a bit about that coming up. But before we get to the sad stuff, I think we're going to talk about a lot of the good and the happy stuff and in Team USA. So make sure you stick around for the second segment where Loki from the St. Louis Gatekeepers are coming on. So it's going to be a great show. And then we've got a bunch of scores that we're hopefully going to get to.
Yeah.
And as always, we'll talk about our weeks. But as you can imagine, it is the day before Thanksgiving, and it is cold.
Yeah.
Weird, right? Cold, rainy, kind of blah. So that is your weather report. I will say today, as part, I'll talk more about it coming up here. But I went out a little bit with the double N and the baby today, and we were able to like hang out outside without hoodies and stuff for a little while. It got up to like 55 degrees and the sun was out for a very few minutes today before the wind and the rain and the blah came. So in typical Rochester weather, it is weird out there, man.
Yeah, my car said 61. I had to run up to the bank.
Oh, there you go. It might have got up as high as 61.
Yeah, that was crazy. And then, and as soon as I got done at the bank, downpour happened. It was like a
Yeah.
blinding downpour. I'm worried a little bit about these winds that we're having because
No, it is definitely wild out there.
remember that wonderful interview we had with Lady Trample, and then the wind knocked the power out of my house and we lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
we had like a really great like 30-minute interview with Trample and then it all went away. That was
yeah,
one of the saddest moments ever. But no, that was kind of her to stick around after the power came back on and all that good stuff. So always a great interview. But yeah, weird. Hopefully the power doesn't go out this time.
it
Um,
won't.
knock on wood,
I
but
have faith.
yeah,
I have
I was gonna
I
say
mean,
it's
yeah.
chilled out a little bit. I'm pretty close to my windows and stuff, and it is not whipping quite as bad as it was that day. So I think we're gonna get through it just fine.
I have a UPS on the power source anyway. So if the power goes out, at least I can have time to save the the
Yeah,
recordings we're doing before
nice.
everything shuts
Nice.
down.
Very glad
So
to hear.
yeah,
Well, let's stop talking about it before we jinx ourselves. Why don't you
certainly.
go ahead and tell me a little bit about your week? What's been going on with you, buddy?
Oh, so we did obviously recorded early last week. I don't know, not much really. I mean, it was a pretty tame weekend last weekend. I mean, I did get to go and visit the studios. Apparently, there was some sort of problem with our show the week before. That's the one that we just did a rerun, and maybe it took the station down. So if it did, I apologize for anybody. I did get calls and wondering
Right.
what's going on, and it's like, yeah. So, but man, it's so hot. It took the station down. No, that's not it. But it was a great week.
The two hottest DJs in roller derby
Yeah.
taking the station.
I think I might have mentioned last week that we celebrated 27 years on my other show, the Pain Clinic, and which was really pretty cool.
That's
27.
really unbelievable, Cash. Good
Yeah,
for you. That's
and so this past week,
crazy.
all my co-hosts disappeared on me, and they all like they couldn't come, so I had to pull out one from the hat from my buddy Murph, and he came on with me, and it was great. It was kind of like a reunion. We hadn't done a show together in many years, and it was like I don't even know if we talked wrestling, to be honest with you. We talked about a lot of things. We used to, have a lot of jokes and stuff, and we did
One
talk.
of these days, if you're ever in a pinch, you let me know. I'll come talk wrestling with you.
I definitely will keep that in mind because usually I've been only a couple of times have I ever had nobody, and then it's just me talking the whole time, and who wants to hear that? So they want to, we need I need somebody to bounce things off of, and disagree with me on how I feel
Sure.
about things. So just to make it more interesting. But so that was last weekend. Last weekend, we are in deep into November, so. I got I cleaned the house really well, even though I really don't have any guests coming over, but I went nuts, a little nutty and cleaned like crazy last weekend. And also on Sunday was the making of the caramel pie day. And I made a few of them.
Sure.
And the only reason I bring it up is because I always mention how it can be dangerous, because you take two cans, per
I
pie, two.
say that was what I was going to ask earlier. Any third degree burns or anything like that?
No, I made it through real well. So what you do is you boil two cans of condensed sweetened milk for 3 hours, and it turns into caramel. And then and so when you open it, it's got a lot of pressure, and the pressure usually. So I have to put something over it because it kind of squirts out like a volcano, lava. And but
Yeah,
no,
it's definitely dangerous. You've literally like burned yourself on it before.
last year I did, because it spurted up and hit me in the chest, where I have no hair. So, but it would have burned the hair off my chest, I'm guessing. But yeah, this year, no, it was a piece of cake. It was like, and I watched football, and I really had no interest in any football games going on because one, the Bills lost on Thursday this past week, which was kind of a bummer, and two, my Washington team wasn't playing, so it's
Oof.
like, yeah. So I mean, all I did worry about fantasy a little bit, but I've kind of fantasy's not as exciting, as you get towards the end of the season, or maybe it is. I don't know. We're not in playoff mode yet, but it's coming. So this week, really great week because,
I was gonna say it depends on who you are. I'm not doing great on either of my team.
yeah, definitely, so this week, school wise, there's 2 days with students, Monday and Tuesday. Today I was in with no students, got a lot of good work done. Caught up on a lot of things that I needed to catch up on. And we were doing, when you work for public school, they have a thing called a lockdown, which is like when that happens, it means you have to like lock your doors, stay in place. You can't, we have to, but they were having problems with the alarm system working and so they had people in working on it today. And so what it does is it yells lockdown over and over and over through the speakers and through your phone speaker. And it wasn't really a lockdown, but it was a test that ended up going enough to the point where I think I was going to put headphones on so I didn't have to hear it anymore. But and as I was walking in the door and out the door, it was still this happening when I was at work today. So, but I'm glad that's over because Thanksgiving's tomorrow and it's one of those eating holidays. And it's like there's really, we're honoring the pilgrims who, came and stole all the land. But then again, they did sit down with the Native Americans and did have a big meal. And that's kind of where this meal kind of
I
comes
mean,
from.
that's what they tell us, right?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure it happened quite like that. There was
Oh,
probably at least like one reasonable meal at some point, but
I just remember,
yeah,
I was going to say, I just remember drawing the turkey out of my hand, like,
sure, yeah,
drawing the
very
turkey.
very classic craft, right? I
Yeah.
think every kid, regardless of like age or generation or whatever, will at some point in their life have done a hand turkey for sure.
Oh, definitely. And I just did one when I was talking, so you can
Oh, I
see.
mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look
if
at
you're
that.
checking this out on when we get this up, I think you put it up on YouTube lately. Tugboat always tells me how glad he is that you put it up on YouTube. So
I
shout out to Tugboat. We love that guy.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I do put the video up every week on YouTube as well as link it off of our Facebook page. So if you're ever curious what we look like,
It's glorious. You're welcome. We are handsome gentlemen, and you should be honored.
yeah. So, but I mean, beyond that, the only thing really that I found that super interesting this week was with the rebranding of the men's roller derby World Cup team now to USA or United States Roller Derby, which is interesting in certain aspects, in other ways too, because it's a non it's there. I mean, it's open gender. That's what one thing
Yeah,
that's happening with this team, which we're super
and
excited about.
I mean there's actively either women presenting or women people who identify as women or non-binary people on the team. So I think it's pretty reasonable, especially to kind of be all encompassing. And I think if I'm not mistaken, that this is the first time that they've had those types of folks on the team. In the past, it's all been at least male presenting individuals. So it's good, and I think it's about time. I think there's very few something something men's roller derby teams anymore. Most of it is just something something roller derby now, and I think that's um, that's more so how it should be, especially because the MRDA, while we're still currently men's roller derby association, it's it's no secret that we've well embraced open gender, and really just anybody who wants to play MRDA can, basically, is how it's been since forever. So I think it's time that the United States World Cup that is representing essentially the Men's Roller Derby Association and other organizations in the United States. I think it's about time that they do change it to an inclusive name, especially because now there are those folks. So it's I think it's great.
Yeah, I was super excited when I saw who had made the team, and it's like, oh yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah, and they just don't feel it's, fair to brand it as the USA Men's World Cup team because that's, and the interesting thing is eventually there may be a rebranding of MRDA too, but
Yeah, I mean, they've certainly talked about it. I mean, I think it's gotten pretty close, almost come down to, actually passing in the forums and things like that. So I think the big holdup is we just the as a membership and leagues and stuff haven't been able to come up with a name, which whatever. I think like mixed roller derby association would work just fine.
I
Um,
suggested Roller Derby Association, and that one has a little traction too. So
Sure, yeah, I think that's fine as well. So yeah, there's not necessarily um, an agreement there yet, but I do think that is well on its way as well.
yeah, which is great. So that's groundbreaking because I mean it's setting definitely a precedent in the sport, and that may make a
Yeah, and I mean, if
whole
we're
bunch of
saying that,
dominoes. Yeah.
and I mean, if we're saying that this is the best of the best, and this is what's going to represent, our country, then I think it's fitting that the name fits the makeup of the team as well. So, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that. So that's awesome. And I mean, who knows? I think it's just the beginning, the tip of the
Sure.
iceberg, keep changing how things change. So, but
Yeah,
I
I
do.
mean the sport is ever growing, and we're getting more and more people who are maybe either gender fluid or female or women, excuse me. So it's happening more frequently, and we're seeing more of even like WFTDAs. Some of their top skaters kind of making that transition because you can be, dual rostered now on a WFTDA as well as an MRDA team. So it absolutely makes sense. There's a lot of good and a lot of growth in that area. So the fact that again, that the team that's representing our country and the MRDA at the World Cup is making this change is huge. Yeah,
It is.
100%. Great point.
I will say some of my favorite people in the world are coaching and the two.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I was super
we've had
excited to see
like the
that.
entire coaching staff on the show, as well as the captains and pretty much like 80% of the roster. So yeah, great to see a lot of friends on that roster. So we're going to talk about that coming up. I just got a few things about my week real quick. I'm trying to remember when we recorded last week and what I talked about, but it's been a regular week really since then. There's always something going on. We've got a lot happening, particularly this week and the next couple of days. Jennifer's family is in town. They are all scattered about the country and the state. So for the holidays when they can get together, usually they do. So we're going to spend a couple of days here and there with the family and so on. Other than that, just lots of baby stuff, always something with Anderson. I forget if I talked about going to the Play Palace and crawling through like tubes and slides and stuff like that and a big old ball pit, but we did take him. There's this place out in Henrietta called Play Palace, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. And it's just, like a big, like Discovery Zone for people who might remember what Discovery Zone was in the 90s, or like Chuck E. Cheese with like a big old ball pit and slides and tubes and climbing and stuff like that. So some of it was a little bit advanced for him, but he had a lot of fun. Um, and it was great to get out and kind of do something fun, especially after some of the sadness that we had last week, which I did talk about. So great to have a good time. Other than that, it's just been a regular week and so on. I've got a ton of work coming up in December. I've got a fair amount of shows coming up at the Montage. I know on December 9th, the Format is playing an acoustic show there, which is like a pretty wildly popular band. If you also know the band Fun, Nate Roos is the lead singer of the band Fun, but he also used to have a band called The Format, and they're on like their 20 or 25-year reunion tour type stuff. So they're doing an acoustic show here in Rochester, and it's going to be huge. It's kind of like co-produced by The Zone, which is like the local alternative station. So that's coming up on top of a lot of other shows, even some catering that I have coming up in December as well. There's a lot of events, so I'm hoping to pick up a couple of catering shifts for the holiday. Um, what else? What else? What else? We took the baby to the Museum of Play today. For anybody that's in Rochester or has been to Rochester, or anybody that's listening, really, the Museum of Play is an awesome like museum for toys and games and video games. It's got like the Toy Hall of Fame there. They've got like this amazing vintage pinball collection. So it's literally just like what it sounds like. It's the museum of the Strong Museum of Play. So let your imagination run wild, because that's pretty much it. They've got everything from like fish tanks to slides to movie theaters to like a daycare and a school all in one place. Lots of really cool stuff. They have like a Sesame Street exhibit, video game exhibit, like even the Video Game Hall of Fame and stuff like that. Just a really cool place to be, a cool place to spend time. If you hear this episode, Google it. Really cool. Um, so taking Anderson there is always a great time. He actually crawled up like the Sesame Street stairs today, which was a fascinating way to find out that your son can crawl upstairs. Never really seen him do that before, so that's something we got to worry about now. But other than that, we had a great time today. It was a lot of fun. So him and Double N are actually already with their family. Um, they'll come back tonight, and then we'll spend time tomorrow for Thanksgiving and all that, and then Friday we get back together again, and they do their family Christmas the day after Thanksgiving. So lots of time with family. Just always so much freaking fun and love with this baby, dude. He's like the coolest little kid. We have a lot of fun doing literally just about anything. He's a very social, special boy. We rode the train today, and we were just laughing, having a great time. He had so much fun. I'm laughing, he's laughing. Like I've got like tears rolling down my face just because we're like full on giggling because he's never been on anything like that. So it was a thrill. The ladies that were working there were loving it because he kept waving to him every time he passed. And yeah, it's just honestly like you hear people tell you how special babies are and how cool it is to have a kid and stuff like that. And you just really don't know until you know, sort of thing. But I'm just so appreciative of him and Double N and yeah, it's really amazing. Just doing all the firsts with him, having all the fun, watching him like eat new foods, just everything. He can say hi. He waves to people. He does high fives. He claps. It's like the most basic stuff, but he's just so happy, and he's like a generally happy boy, and it's really the coolest thing ever. So I really love being a dad, and that's just taken up a lot of our time too. So things are all good in the Ingalls Schramm household. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think we should go ahead. We're going to hit a commercial break. We're going to come back and talk to one of the newest members of Team USA Roller Derby and one of the members of the St. Louis Gatekeepers, gold medalist, bronze medalist,
And our
Loki Doki.
rival. Don't forget our rival.
Oh, I did totally forget.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that down because I'm going to forget again. Arch rival as well, of course. So just an amazing talent. I'm excited to catch up with Loki. They've been on the show before, so let's hit a break. You're listening to Derby Rocks on 106.3 WRFC. Welcome back to Derby Rocks. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We are excited to talk to our friend Loki, who has joined us before from recently announced Team USA Roller Derby, the St. Louis Gatekeepers, as well as arch rival Roller Derby. How's it going, Loki?
Good. How are you all doing?
Good, good, good. Thank you for coming on the show. I know it's the day right before a holiday, so thank you for giving us some time.
Of course, of course.
Awesome. Well, we've got a lot to talk about, but refresh everybody's memory. You have been on the show before, but remind everybody how you got involved in roller derby and roller skating.
Yeah. So mine was just a story of meeting someone who had been involved in roller derby and they got me to skate. They got me to join a league and I didn't know how long I'd be doing it. I figured year or two, I'll move on. And here we are 15 years later. A gold medal and silver medal last year in WFGA and MRDA, and another bronze medal this year in the MRDA, and a lot more tournaments. Two travel teams making Team USA. So it's been a long journey, but many leagues along the way. Most notably our tribal and the St. Louis Gatekeepers, and now
Yeah.
Team USA.
What league did you start with?
I started with the Prairieland Punishers out of Decatur, Illinois.
Okay. Are they still a league?
They are. I still know some of their skaters. I not recently, but years ago, I actually went back and did some clinics for them.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really cool, right? That had to be a good feeling, kind of like a full circle kind of moment.
Yeah. It's always really cool. I've had a couple in the last couple of years. Going and coaching my first league was one. In the past couple of seasons, we have actually picked up some skaters from my second league who now skate for the Gatekeepers as well. So it's been an interesting full circle journey of I left Arch for a couple of years and came back to the WFTDA and now play both WFTA and MRDA. So since the last time you've seen me, I've had a couple more full circle moments come around.
Yeah,
That's good.
I got a good one because before we talk about obviously USA Roller Derby being part of that team in the past 12 months, and we're not going to count this past champs, but before that, you played in both the 2024 MRDA championship game as well as the WFTDA championship game. You played in both championships games. You won obviously with the Gatekeepers. You got the silver with Arch Rival. That's a first. No, I don't think anybody's ever done that. So you just really set quite a precedent, and that's congrats on that. That's pretty cool.
Thank you. Yeah, with me, I played in both games, but I had a teammate who was on both charters as well, and so she and I were the first two to ever get those medals on both MRDA and WFGA in the same season.
That's amazing. And so how was it, and I do want to throw this out, how was it like to play on your birthday in that MRDA championship? And by the way, it was acknowledged by the announcers during the game, only because we're friends on Facebook. And I mentioned it to the announcer in the chat and so it did get some run during that. But how was it? What was that like? I mean, is that like the ultimate gift?
Yeah, it was the absolutely the ultimate gift. I mean, it's so interesting to play on your birthday because you don't really get to celebrate. And when you do finally get to celebrate, you're celebrating so much, but it was super exciting. It was a great experience. And I did kind of joke with teammates that like that was what I want for my birthday. I want to win my first gold medal. That's my birthday present, guys. Get me that, like work with me. We're doing all the work. Let's go get a gold.
I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
Yeah.
too much to ask for. You are a fantastic park skater as well. You post videos of yourself. You've been in this skating park for a little while now. Do you like plan your park skating around any specific season, or do you just do it all the time? Do you take breaks? And kind of how do you manage everything? You're so busy, it sounds like. So a little bit of a multi-part question for you there.
Yeah, the multi-part there for sure. I think when we're getting ready for something like champs is usually when I take a break from park because I'm doing a lot of the like recovery stuff and really hardcore focusing on derby. And then like right now, as we're coming out of the season, is usually when I get to kind of pick back up again. But most of the season, I just balance it by having, I have with GK, I'm at practice every Wednesday and Sunday. With Arch, I have Monday and Thursday. And so like Tuesdays are my park skating nights. I'm just like, okay, that's my dedicated. I just carve out that time. I treat it, during parts of the season where maybe it's a little more difficult because you're like, I have to train derby. I treat it like cross training. Is like I go to the gym. So like
100%.
how is going to the skate park and getting that time on skates, which helps with not only my skating, but also just
You're
like
building
it's endurance.
consistently. Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
it's fun endurance. So like, if I treat it like that and I have the mentality of like I'm here to do like something I love, but also that can help me. I do the same thing with my circus training is I circus train like 1 or 2 days a week, but I work it around my derby schedule. And again, it's cross training. It's strengthening muscles that I could get injured.
Hit the pause button.
Yeah, hold on.
We talked about this before because you just casually mentioned circus training. So do you mean like tumbling and um explain it to me because
Yeah.
I have an idea of like people holding each other up and like fancy stuff like that and as a great way of like building strength. So please tell me more about the circus. And if we talked
I'm
about it before, I'm sorry, but I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think the last time you interviewed me, I was actually heading into my circus like class that I used to take.
Okay.
But I have my own aerial rig. I mostly do aerial, so I have like silks and I have an aerial hoop. And
Okay.
so it's a lot of training that stuff in the air. I also
Any like
have
trapeze
trained
work?
myself a little bit on juggling and hula hoops.
That's cool.
So I can juggle. There's videos of me juggling on skates, juggling at skating events. But a lot of it, my real like exciting, what I love to do is train aerial and be up in the air. And yeah, that's probably my favorite. So I'm most known for my I have a second Instagram account. I have a skating specific one, and then I have my other one. And my other one is like whenever I get the chance to video anything that I'm doing on circus, I post it on my other account.
I think that when you were after the championships in England last year, that you went and did some stuff like that because I remember seeing some pictures and videos from that. So you get before you came back to the United States, right?
Not before I came back to the United States, but as soon as I got back, like
Yeah.
I came back and I immediately was back up on my aerial rig doing stuff. I think I maybe took like 2 weeks because I had WFTDA champs, but it was like MRDA champs, WFTA champs, immediately back into like circus training because that's what you do when you do a lot of sports.
Yeah, sure. No, that's fascinating. I love it. Can you juggle more than three? I can sort of do four. I really struggle because it's all in like one hand. You're doing two in each hand, and I'm not that coordinated. I can do three like fairly well, but four, I struggle.
Yeah, I haven't started four yet.
Sure.
I've mostly done three in just different
Patterns.
configuration. So I can do a standard three, but I also have been practicing overhand threes. And I'm trying to Currently, I've been trying to get better at my single hand two ball juggle because there's
See,
a lot
that's
of
where
stuff
I
you can do with
struggle.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I like I think it's called like cascading or overhand,
Yeah,
where it's like the opposite kind of instead of the typical you're doing it. Yeah.
yeah.
That's one of my favorites. I can do rings a little bit and like clubs horribly. So I love
Clubs
that
is what
that's
I'm
like
learning right now.
nice. I love that. I love that. So, one of the weirdest things about me is, and it's not really weird at all. It's I lived with one of like the best jugglers in the world who does like combat juggling and stuff like that. So I actually got to know juggling and the juggling world really well. Um,
Yeah.
there's a guy on social medias, either Josh Horton or Josh Norton. I forget his name, but he's like up there, and he's like a juggling celebrity that I've like gotten to meet through my former roommate. And we're going off on a juggling tangent, but I love that about you. That's fascinating. Let me ask. I'm going to go back to the skate park. Um, what's your favorite like tricks to work on? Do you like grinds more or aerials? I see you do a lot of aerials.
Yeah. My favorite is actually spins. I
Okay.
have a hashtag I use a lot of, which is spinning is winning. Just like on the track, I am known for liking to like go around in circles. But I think my other one is cartwheels and aerials.
Very
But
cool.
I think spinning, one of the first things I did when I got to the park was land a 360. And so now I can land some like fakie 540s and I'm working on a forward 540, which I can do it onto a platform. I just haven't quite gotten it in the actual ramp yet.
Fair. Um, do you have a favorite skate park or do you have like, do you prefer, it sounds like you might prefer like mini ramps or vert
Yeah.
when you're skating. So do you have a favorite skate park then?
I have what I think of as my home skate park. I used to really love Skate Laborious before it burned down. That was my favorite. Just because I thought it was really like you don't get a lot of verts and it's in this beautiful church.
Right.
But I also always have to mention my home skate park, which is Ramp Riders, and it is just in an old warehouse. It's a floor of the warehouse, and so it's indoor, it's accessible. That's why I can skate year round, is
Yeah.
because I have an indoor accessible skate park
Yeah.
year
You have
round.
a pretty big one
And
here.
it's got a mini, it's got like a double, like, ramp. It's got a vert wall, not a vert like ramp, but it does have a vert wall with like things leading up to it. It's more of a bike skate park, to be
Uh-huh.
honest. Like a lot of things are made for bikes, but I
Same.
find that it's really fun to get creative there. And the mini is always really fun to be in because I can, at the end of a hard session, I'm just like, oh, I can go in the mini and just like do a couple of tricks, throw a couple of cool moves, and finish out my night before I go home.
Yeah, it's very cool. So you're doing circus training, you're playing roller derby for multiple teams, and not just multiple teams, but some of the best teams in the entire world. You're doing skate park stuff, you're taking slams. Most of your stuff is based on physicality. You're using your body in all of these things. What type of like rest and recuperation and so on do you allow yourself?
Oh, that's so important. So I try really hard to make sure that I'm doing very thorough warm-ups, especially for derby. I have a pretty strict regiment of how I warm up. And I have a little bit different for like practices where it's a lot of mobility and just getting myself, because we do on skates warm-ups pretty extensively with my leagues, but like I do an off skates warm-up. And then I have like game day warm-ups and those types of warm-ups that I do for like pre-training whenever I'm going to do more intense training, like a scrimmage day, I'm doing my game day warm-up. On a normal practice day, knowing that we're probably going to like give a little more time to work into, up to full contact, I'm probably doing a little bit of a lighter, more of a mobility. But I have a very specific mobility routine I do. I have active stretches, that dynamic stretching that I do. And then I also have some like agility stuff that I do to warm up specifically to prepare me to jam.
Okay.
And then on
Uh,
top of that, stretching after practices,
yeah, yeah,
doing
it's
additional
important.
mobility and stretching.
Very, very
Again, even when I go to the gym, I make sure that I'm doing some like movement and mobility and warm up before I lift. And then I'm stretching after I'm done to make sure that I'm doing everything for my body. And sleep is like king. Like I am very big. I took a whole course and was very specific about like what good sleep and the benefits it does for your body and for your brain. And so I'm very, very much a like, you go to bed at a certain time if you can, like there's times you can't, but you try to be consistent and you make sure you're getting enough sleep. That's not non-negotiable. We don't cut on sleep because sleep is what really allows your body to do the most healing and do the most preparation for you to be the best athlete you can be.
That's awesome.
Sure.
Do you when you go, like, say, for instance, to Europe to skate, or say the West Coast, I mean, it's tough sometimes to catch up on your sleep doing that. I mean, is it still important that is it more important to try to change your hourly schedule, or just to, actually get the sleep in?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. It really depends on when you're playing. We're very fortunate that sometimes you either know your skating schedule ahead of time, and this year, unfortunately, I had to lean a little bit more into just getting the sleep that I could and making sure I got enough when I did travel, because I had a couple of times where I went from East Coast to West Coast within like a couple weeks of each other. And being like central time zone, it meant that I was like kind of whiplashing from the shifts. And so I kind of had to like focus on, okay, I'm gonna have to watch when I'm gonna play. I'm gonna have to really plan ahead. I have to again, like I'm very specific about what my body needs, and I want to make sure that I'm setting myself up to be the most successful I can be. And so I take a lot of that really seriously. And so I think normally, if I'm left to my own devices, I want to give myself the time to acclimate to the local schedule so that I'm really doing my best when I need to perform. But in a pinch, it's get the sleep you can, and you make up for it in if you need to nap, if you need to, go to bed at a weird time and wake up at a weird time, you do that because the sleep is what's important. But if you can let yourself acclimate, that's always ideal.
Just remember
Yeah.
that when you go to France in April, okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's
All right.
that's
Well, speaking of France and all that, um, of course we just had the Team USA roller derby roster announced. Congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about um, your decision to try out for it. What really pushed you and encouraged you to give it a try?
I That's a really good question because I just feel like it was always a given that I was going to try out. Like as long as they were going to allow people of any gender to try out, I was going to try out for Team USA. I I don't even think there was a moment where I would like ever question it. I basically asked up front as soon as it was announced, like, is it going to be open gender? Is it going to follow the MRDA's gender policy? Because if it is, I'm trying out. I'm putting my name
Yeah,
and I'm
right.
doing this. And I don't. I think it wasn't even an inspired. It wasn't even. It was just. It was a thing I was doing regardless. I knew that I had the capabilities. I knew I wanted the opportunity to be there and to try out. And it was a fact of what I was going to be doing. It was a fact of life from the moment it was announced that I was going to be there. I was going to be trying out as long as I was allowed to.
I love that.
that is
What
awesome. Oh,
what was your goal heading into the tryouts?
I think I think it's anyone's goals. Like your goal is always it's kind of like getting ready for champs, right? Your goal is always going to be gold. Regardless of who you are, you're going in, you're like, I'm going for gold. I'm going to make Team USA. That's what I'm going to show up and I'm going to work my hardest to do. But I think the way that I approached that was more like, I'm here. I do the same thing for games. I always say, I've already done the work. This isn't about like doing the work and like suddenly changing something I do. This is showing up and showing the work I've done and showing how much I love this sport and how hard I've worked to be where I'm at. And all of the work to do that, that's already been done. That's months ago. I can't change the skater I am when I show up. So when I was going into it, it was I am bringing the skater I am. I'm bringing all the years of experience. I'm bringing all of the talent I already have. And my job is to execute that and show the coaches what I can bring to them. And obviously the goal is always to make it. And then it was like, well, if you don't make it, you got this opportunity to show who you are in front of some of the highest level, skaters in the world, and also like some of the best coaches too,
Yeah.
because I know a lot of those coaches and they are incredibly smart and capable people. So it's just this opportunity that I get to have. And worst case, you put yourself out there, you don't quite meet your goal, but you still got this incredible experience out of it.
Yeah,
Sure.
we had a lot of friends that were down there as well, and we saw that it was like three different sessions. The first session was everybody, the second session was a callback later, and then the third one was the scrimmage the next day. I mean that I can imagine the talent in that room was just see all over the place, you know. And it's like I'm so to make it to where you are now, got to give you congratulations for that because there was just so many great skaters that were there. What was it pretty cool? I mean, was everyone very friendly to everybody, and it was a lot of fun and.
Yeah, it was so fun. I mean, I traveled there and stayed with teammates that I have on the gatekeepers, and that of course felt like very cool. It was another travel experience with my teammates, but like truly, when else do you get to skate with so many of your, normal like regular season opponents all in one place? And like you getting to be there was amazing. Getting to see and feel how these different talents come together in different ways across those three, tryout periods. It's incredible. And you get so many insights getting to train with people. You get to really see them and how they, approach things and how they, handle different, like you're in all these different situations and you're just getting to really see people. And that was another like incredible part of it, was seeing all these skaters that maybe I don't know that much about. Maybe I've only had a conversation or I've skated against them, and getting to see, what it looks like, that little slice of training of what it looks like to train with them, to be on the track with them, and not always just, when it comes down to when we're playing games.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the challenge. You had mentioned some of the talent. You're skating with some of the very best in the world from some of the top teams, from of the not top teams who are still amazing skaters. But yeah, like tell us a little bit about the challenges and how hard it was to kind of make it through and ultimately make the team.
Yeah, I mean, 6 hours of training essentially over 2 days.
Wow.
I think the biggest part was like I think for me, like I train a lot. I skate for two teams, so I feel
Clearly,
like for me, like maybe I'm the worst person to ask, because I was like, this is a normal training weekend for me. Like
yeah.
this is what I do every weekend during the season. Like I have training after training after training, and I'm just moving around and doing things. But I think it was hard to be like, I'm being watched while I do all this. Like it's one thing to go to practice and to know your team and have that comfort, and it's another to know that like you're being assessed the entire time. And I think that was probably like the mental game, the mental focus and acuity it took to not get too wrapped up in that, and recognize that, like, again, it's reminding myself, like, I've done this work. This is my opportunity to demonstrate all the work I've done.
Yeah.
This isn't an assessment as much as it is like, kind of like an end of year project where I get to be like, look at all the stuff that I worked on this year. Look at, and years of it, right? Like I've been playing this sport for almost 15 years. Like, look at all that this is the accumulation of everything that I've put work in for. Like should be super exciting, and having to like remind myself of that, not get too caught up in, the what ifs of what if I don't make it? What if I don't make the next round? What if what if I just didn't do enough in that session? What if I didn't represent what I really can do? And you have to set those all aside, and every single time go in there and ask yourself, like, but, this is, what if I do great? What
Yeah.
if they do see the things that I see, or the things that other people see in me? Like, I have to stay positive, and I have to just keep showing, again, all of the work that I've put in. It's like a senior project. You show up and you get to show with all of your enthusiasm everything that you have worked on and everything that you've excitedly like poured yourself into over the years.
How was the wait until you found out? Are you a patient person?
I not typically, but I had, this is end of year for my job too. So I had so much stuff going on that actually when they, announced, it was kind of like, oh, I thought I'd have to wait a little longer. Like it actually came sooner than I thought, because like I help with I'm on coaching committee for gatekeepers. I have, you know, had discussions with leadership to help like drive, like I know what it takes to like think and about charters and stuff. I've been a captain before. So I was like, oh, this is one of the biggest decisions people have to make. And they're, people traveled in, even the coaches traveled in from all over the place.
Yeah.
I wanted to give them I gave them a lot more, time and grace in my head than they ended up needing. But I was prepared to wait for another like week or two before I heard anything. Because while I'm not normally a patient person, I wouldn't say I'm very much a like uh excited. I want to know what's coming next. I want to prepare. I want to plan. I want to do. I also know what it takes to get to those decisions and how important they are and how much discussion and how much thought should go into them. And so like people have their regular lives. And so I was prepared to, not hear for a little bit longer to give that, kind of that space and that time to the coaches to really like make those decisions. But I was really excited to hear back as soon as I did.
Awesome. And of course you made the team. How is that feeling? You find out that you did the thing. It's awesome. I'm not shocked at all. But what's that feeling like? Is that like one of the biggest honors ever?
Yeah, it was honestly, it was surreal. I think I was just, it didn't seem real. Like I kept having to go back and look at the post and be like, oh, that is my name. That is
Yeah,
me.
that's actually
I
me.
I
Yep.
did that. And I think what struck me even more was like it was almost easy. I was as excited as I was for myself. I was thrilled. I again like flabbergasted. I didn't know what to do with myself, but I think I was as if not a little more excited to see some of my teammates on there. You know,
Yeah,
I'm very close with a lot of my teammates, but Spin Diesel has been a part of my derby life in a way for many, many
that's
years.
great.
He's
Love
someone
that
who
guy.
has been a leader and a mentor, and he's incredible. But I also Shred Astaire and Jamie Pacquiao, those are
Yeah,
two of my best friends.
sure.
So I see
That's
those
that's
names and
amazing.
I was just like,
We
I'm
love them as
so
well.
excited. I'm so proud. I like, these are two people I've been training. I mean, all three of them I've been training next to for the last couple of years, but like those two especially, like we get coffee outside of,
Good, yeah.
normal practice structure. Me and Jamie are both really into art, so we work on art projects together and like we do a lot of check-ins. Like these are people I like, this is something I've built. Like there's a lot of things I've built with those three skaters, and to see their names on it and know that this is another opportunity to build with them and get to be, travel with them and have this amazing experience. Like that was like super exciting. And to know there's, that's only four, like that's the four of us. Like there's another 16 skaters on that charter
Yeah.
that I get to have those experiences with that like I don't have maybe that relationship with right now, but like I get the opportunity to go have those like, hey, you're not just a skater on an opposing team now, you're my teammate, and I get to go, bring this energy of let's build something together to this new experience.
Yeah,
That's
it's great.
awesome. I'm happy for any of the gatekeepers because of the last World Cup being canceled and everybody was preparing for it, and then COVID, of course, shut the world down. So Magnum's involved. I'm super happy for him because I know that he was very, very invested in this last time. And it's like, so, and it was well, any of the gatekeepers. So that I think that I'm super excited for those guys being involved too, as well. So that
Yes.
I got to throw that out there because it's like I remember we were building up that World Cup. We were ready
Yeah,
to come down, and
yeah.
then
We had Mac on the show. One of the times was to promote the World Cup coming up, and he was so excited about the venue and everything coming up. So no, it's great to see him, be a part of it. And I mean, what a treat for the team as well. I mean, one of the greatest to ever put skates on and play roller derby. So you
Yeah.
guys
It's
are well set at coaching for sure.
I'm so excited. And in some ways, this is like being reunited for
Yeah.
me, being reunited with Magnum. He was my teammate. Before
Yeah.
that, I was at Gatekeeper practices even prior to joining the league.
Right.
So he was somebody that like I, trained with, I looked up to. When I joined Gatekeepers, he was really someone who it felt like he kind of mentored me as like how to be in kind of more of a leadership role that I hadn't been in previously. And he's really one of the people that inspired me to step up within the league for the 2024 season and into this last season. I was a pack leader for our jammers, and a lot of that, like me stepping into those roles and feeling confident, a lot of that came from either inspired by or kind of, really things that he had showed me and taught me over our time together. So I'm so excited to kind of be reunited with him as a coach, and get to, hopefully learn and see even more from him, because he is such an incredible resource to have for Team USA. And I have all the respect in the world, but also just like he is just he was a wonderful teammate. He's a wonderful leader. And I'm just beyond
Yeah,
excited to be reunited.
absolutely. Awesome. So unfortunately, the gatekeepers fall short for the first time in a million years at MRDA champs this past year. Um, what's like the takeaway? What's the plan for 2026?
It's looking at, where what could we be doing better? What takes us to that next edge? And that's really been the question for the last couple of seasons. Like nothing's given, and I think as a side before I go into the gatekeepers, like as a fan of the sport, that's incredible. That's the
No,
best
yeah,
thing
it's
that can
great to
happen,
see.
is to have those tight game plays, having everyone having to like fight tooth and nail for their place at champs. Like I love that that's where we're at. That's exciting for fans. That's exciting for people who love this sport.
Yeah,
And I think like champs was exciting. And
yeah,
as a gatekeeper, like we fell short. We wanted that gold. We always want that gold. We trained for that gold. And going into next year, I think it's going to be like, I know I have plans to like watch more footage from champs. What could we have done? What we're seeing in the games we didn't play in. What's going to give us that edge into next year of how do we plan and prepare for and go win these games? Because there is a lot of talent out there, and we have to continue to look for like what's the gameplay edge, what are we bringing to the table, how do we better prepare our skaters for the long haul of a hard season, because they're this level of gameplay across the MRDA has gotten so tightly competitive that you
yeah,
have to be ready. I think part of it is like you have to be ready to play a whole season. You do not get, any, not that there's ever like an easy game, but you don't get like you get every single game is a fight. And how do you train? I'm someone who's trained for many, many years for long seasons. And how do we get every single person ready to train for those long seasons that start in January and don't end until like October or November? That is a long season to prepare for. And how do you keep your mental game in there? How do you keep your physical game in there? How do you ensure you're not getting injured? And I think people think about these things a lot, but like how do we execute that as an entire organization? Because I think we think a lot about just at an individual level, but like how as an organization do we execute this across all of our skaters, and how do we support them through that long season? I think there's been other seasons that maybe felt like a little bit easier to do that. You've got breaks at certain points, but you can't take long breaks anymore. You have to be training throughout that duration. And how do you keep in it?
You know,
yeah,
the I want to mention that that was a very physical tournament, and that game against Concussion was absolutely amazing.
unbelievable.
What a tough game for both sides. It was, and I think the Gatekeepers actually, hey, came back big at the end. Just fell short, a little bit short there. But what a game. That was probably my favorite game of the whole tournament, besides the first game, which was a 1 point win by Ray
Yeah.
City. So that tournament was just hard hitting, and you realize Toulouse, the teams coming from Europe, man, how physical they were when they played, so kudos, still getting the bronze though, I'll give you that. So that definitely was
Yeah, I mean, it's still amazing. Yeah, and not, obviously, like you said, you always want to win that gold, but being the third best team in the world or in the MRDA is nothing to shake a stick at. It's still pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still, and I'm really proud of what we accomplished. It
Oh,
was, we made it through like many, many difficult games this season. We still executed when we needed to, falling short in one game. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be proud of everything you did accomplish, but it does mean there's somewhere to grow, right? And I think that's also exciting. It's
Yeah,
exciting to be like, I can look at and say,
not the
there's
ceiling.
always room for growth, but look at where we specifically, that game was winnable.
Yeah.
I think we can win that game in the future. So how do we get there? How do we take those next steps so that game, we win that game next time? Because it's not always going to be concussion. It's not specific to concussion. It's not specific to, Toulouse. It's not specific to any team. How do we, if we do have like a rough go at a certain point in the game, how do we keep our heads calm and not just come back within a couple of points, but come back to win? How do we, those are the exciting things you get to think about now. It's not, I like there's a Instagram thing that's roller derby innovation. It's talking about tight games, right? And every time I think about that, I'm like, yeah, MRDA right now, super tight games, people coming back from deficits. That's exciting. That's exciting derby. That's what people want to see. They don't want to see the games that stay with one team 100 points ahead the entire time. It's nice for that team because they feel comfortable, but like it's not exciting. You want those games where it's neck and neck. You're going back and forth. And you do see that at MRDA champs for the last 2 years is a lot of close games.
Do you think that like a lot of these teams, I mean, obviously coming in with the past history, they were training on how to stop you guys doing what you do best, and that's what every single team in that tournament was doing because you're being 6 years, 6 champs in a row. That and so it's you got to be a little bit proud about that too as well because it's like they're counter programming against what you guys do best, and so that it's nice you give them a goal. So that's what it was. You gave everybody a goal
Yeah, I
during
mean, when you're the standard, you know what I mean? It's a great feeling, and it's been amazing to see, a really great dynasty that you got to be a part of.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm a jammer, and one of the things that I think this is actually a Magnum saying back in the day, but like your job is to drive. If you're a jammer, your job is to drive the blockers to react to you. And if you're a blocker, your job is to drive the jammer to have to react to what you're doing. You have more control that way. And like gatekeepers for a very long time have been that team that drive other people to have to react to what we're doing. And it's really exciting to see like how that's helped the sport as a whole. And I think that's exciting. And I think more and more teams are getting to that point where they're going to start driving. There's multiple teams now that can drive. Okay, how do we prepare for this team? It's not just the gatekeepers. And obviously, as a gatekeeper, I want us to be that gold medal standard forever and ever. But as a fan of this sport, I want to
Yeah.
see more of those teams up there doing that because that is what, again, that is what makes this sport exciting. That is what really keeps the interest. And it's great for the overall growth of the sport to have so many competitive teams that can vie for those, medals at the end of every year.
Yeah, it's good to know that there's not a ceiling just yet, too. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
still teams getting better and more to learn and more strategy and ways to adapt. So it is very exciting. We're going to let you go in a minute here. Thank you so much for giving us so much time. Do you have anything really awesome coming up? Any events? Anything that you want to plug for any of your leagues?
Yeah, I would love to. So, I mean, gatekeepers, we're doing like skate party fundraiser this Friday. We have end of year party that I am personally helping with. I just like to shout out that like this is a league that does things. If your league is not celebrating your skaters, if you are not celebrating and getting excited about your teammates, do that. That is a huge part of being a part of a team and building, a culture within a team. We also have our local season, and that's super exciting. And then beyond that, into next year, I'm really excited. February 21st, Team USA comes to St. Louis for training camp, and we're also going to be scrimmaging the gatekeepers. So I am very excited for that. That's going to be huge, but also, again, February 21st for anyone who, I think there's probably going to be some, public scrimmage at that point. So it should be really exciting. And
Very
that's
cool.
something that's and I get to see all my Team USA teammates. But overall, I'm just here for the Wednesday and Sunday practices with the gatekeepers. I am a bread and butter kind of skater. I want to do my training. I want to be there. I want to build something. And that's the energy I'm taking into next year as well. Build something together, connection. Like tie all of your excitement and your passion and your connection into this sport.
It's beautiful. I love it. Well said. Well said. What do you like to eat around the holidays? What's one of your favorite like holiday side dishes, or are you just here for like the whole meal? Or I'm like a
I
mashed potatoes and like mac and cheese kind of fella.
I'm so me and my partner are planning our Thanksgiving feast for tomorrow, but the thing I'm really
Okay.
excited about to try is we're going to make these stacked alternating sweet potato and potato stackers that you make.
Okay. All
And
right.
then like you put cheese and stuff in there, so they're cheesy potato stackers.
So is it like a
And
cheesy potato lasagna
yes.
almost?
Yeah, it's like a cheesy potato lasagna. So
I
we're
love
really excited to try that. And then the other one is I really like pecan pie. But we found a recipe for pecan pie cookies.
it. All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds
So
great.
those are I'm really excited about those for tomorrow.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Cash, did you have anything else before I
No,
wrap
no,
us up?
I'm just very appreciative of you coming
Awesome.
on.
Yeah. Thank you so much for
Best
giving
of
us so
luck.
much time before the holiday. Congrats on all your success. You are a literal like trailblazer, and I hope you are proud of yourself and take time to acknowledge your accomplishments. So, thank you so much for coming on the show. We always appreciate talking to you.
Thank you for having me. I had a blast at any time.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Deet, 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 deet. Sorry, I talked over you. Welcome back to Derby Rocks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a great interview with Loki, arch rival, uh, St. Louis Gatekeepers, Team USA. Um, Unbelievable pedigree, an unbelievable talent. Thank you. What a great interview that was. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We you might hear this, you might not, depending on where you pick up the show.
I will say,
It
if you
went a
listen to the
little bit
podcast, you'll definitely hear this. Okay, because we're
perfect. So make sure
limited.
you check us out and make sure you like and follow us or whatever it is, wherever you are listening. So, Spotify, that's a great place. So check us out wherever you get your favorite podcasts and all that. But make sure you're hitting that like button. Cash has got some news he's going to go over.
Yeah, so I got the closest bouts from WFTDA last weekend. We had Sheffield 246 over Dom City 232. It's a 14-point difference. We had Birmingham 143 over Bristol. That's 143 to 121, 22-point difference. We had Dresden losing to Rohrpott 150 to 125, and the biggest upset was Sheffield beating Dom City there. We also had some MRDA scores too, as well, because we had a tournament going on. Closest bouts from that, we had Inhuman beating DHR 215 to 190. I like this one, Track Ass, which is beating Inhuman 175 to 111. Borderland Bandits losing to Inhuman 232 to 122. And there's a bunch of tournament. That was the tournament. What was it called again?
The Nations Tournament.
Yeah, yeah. So that was going on. Congrats to all of them. I do want to mention also, well, we don't have any games coming up soon, I think, because this is the holidays this weekend. But I did get a message about, what is it? Let's see. Oh, registration for, we're having this thing in Rochester. It's,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, we've got the first coming up, or not the first, but the first month of the year. Yeah, there's an event coming up.
very first weekend. We're going to have a juniors tournament here. It's I can't remember the exact title of it because I am not a good person. And no, 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 I'm just kidding. I just
It's
it's
like January Jam Start or January
yeah,
Jamboree,
yeah.
January Jam.
And there's going to be, I mean,
So
Philadelphia's juniors are coming here. There's a whole bunch of teams traveling to Rochester for the weekend, the first Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the new year. And there's going to be a Rock City scrimmage as well going on. That's about all I have for anything coming up. So
yeah, I got really nothing. I might try that scrimmage coming up because there is the open gender scrimmage as well as the juniors tournament. So I might give it a shot and see how the old body does, even though I haven't skated since like July. I think I might go back to practice next week. Don't hold me to that. I don't know, but what a great show! Thank you so much for riding it out. Thank you to Loki for coming on. And thank you, Cashman, for being my buddy. I'll see you on Saturday. I do believe.
yes, we're going to get together for WWE Survivor
That's what's up.
Series.
Whoa, games.
All right.
We'll catch you on the flip side, y'all. We'll see you next week. Thanks for hanging out.